Hello guys, welcome to Technical Link, and in today's video we are going to check what is a API gateway. Now in this video I am going to tell you why the API gateway is used, how it is used, and what are the real world examples of an API gateway. So let's get started with the video. What is an API gateway? So API gateway acts as an entry point for a client request to the backend services. So it acts as a mediator or a gate between the client request and the backend services. It also routes the request, secures the request, and optimizes the traffic. So whenever the request comes, it routes that request to a particular server at a backend. Then it provides a security to the server by doing authentication and authorization on a request. And after that, it optimizes a traffic so server should not get overloaded. Why do we need an API gateway? So API gateway simplifies the client interaction, which means whatever the client you have, like mobile, website, desktop, etc., the request will go to the one endpoint only. That is a API gateway. It centralizes a security by providing the authentication and authorization logic in an API gateway itself, so that the valid and secure request should go to the server itself. After that, it optimizes the performance using a features like a caching and load balancing. So you can just add or do a coding of a caching and a load balancing in an API gateway to avoid a load and improve the performance of an application. So this is a simple structure on how the API gateway works. So whenever you send a request from a client, so this is my client, after that it goes to the API gateway. So this is the main entry point of our application or a website, I can say. Then API will authenticate the request which is coming from a client, and it send that request to the server 1, 2 or 3. So let's say if I take an example of a database, I'm getting some data to my client side. So what the client will do, client will send an API request with the database. So whenever API checks and authorizes the request, it will go to the server 2, and server 2 will go to the database to fetch some data. After the data is fetched, that data will be returned to the server 2, and server 2 will return that response to the API, after which API will send that response to the client. So this is how a basic API gateway works. So this is all about the introduction of an API gateway in an integrated solution. So there are some key points or key features of an API gateway. First, we can secure our request. There will be only one entry point or an endpoint for a client. Then we can have an improved performance using a load balancing or a cache mechanism. And after that, we can just add or reduce the servers at a backend, and we just have to add or remove the routes in an API gateway. So this is all about the API gateway. You can just like, share and subscribe to our channel for more information.